Hello, Dr. Childress here. Thanks for coming. So in the previous videos, we've identified that this is an attachment-related pathology with possible family systems overtones. We identified the three symptom areas, the three symptom domains. We unpacked the hostile aggressive symptoms, and sure enough, it led directly into a family systems description of the pathology. But we've rolled that back up, and now we're sitting here with the three symptom domains again. We've got the aggressive symptoms, the attachment systems, and the anxiety symptoms. Let's unpack one of the other two. Let's do the anxiety symptoms. Okay, so let's unroll the anxiety symptoms and see what they tell us. So whenever you have anxiety symptoms surrounding a parent that are directed or triggered by a parent, the first thing you want to think of is dangerousness of the parent that's causing the child's anxiety. So we have a fear. Fear indicates danger or threat, so we have danger or threat associated with a parent, so we want to look at child abuse issues. We want to look at any sort of violent, aggressive, dangerous parenting that's causing the symptoms. I'm not going to go to that differential diagnostic possibility today. I'm going to assume that you know how to assess for dangerousness, that you know how to assess for child abuse, that you know how to assess for domestic violence, severe domestic violence, and that you can do that as your first rule-out diagnosis. So you got child anxiety surrounding a parent, rule out child abuse, dangerousness of a parent. Do that package. What we're going to talk about, you and me in the conversation, is that you have done that assessment. You have done that risk assessment. You have assessed for dangerousness from the targeted rejected parent, and it's come back negative. There is no dangerousness. This is not being caused by child abuse. Okay? So you have done that assessment, differential diagnosis. You have ruled out child abuse and domestic violence, severe domestic violence, as a justification, as a reason for the child's anxiety. Okay. So then let's unpack the anxiety symptoms. What are we looking at? The child is experiencing or expressing a great deal of anxiety around being with the targeted rejected parent or being or in anticipation of being with the targeted parent. Great deal of anxiety. The anxiety is so severe that it can result in a situationally imposed panic attack almost, where the child just gets so anxious about even being potentially in the presence of the targeted parent that they just go into these panic attacks, these severe anxiety episodes. And the child is taking active steps to avoid the targeted parent, to avoid the source of the anxiety, or else endures the anxiety with great distress. If they have to be with the targeted parent, they're just enduring the experience and the fearfulness and anxiety. Those three symptoms of intense anxiety, panic attack, even thinking about being with the person, and avoiding the situation, avoiding the trigger, are the three diagnostic symptoms for a specific phobia in the DSM. Look it up. Specific phobia, DSM-5. Those three symptoms are the symptom indicators of a specific phobia. So the child's anxiety symptoms, what we're looking at is a specific phobia. The type of specific phobia is a mother type or a father type, because they're not phobic about parents, they're just phobic about one parent, mom, or one parent, dad. So we have a child-specific phobia, father type, let's say. Well, that's weird. There's no such thing as a specific phobia, father type. There are specific phobias about a lot of stuff. You can have a phobia about the color white, You can have a phobia about water. You can have a phobia about a lot of things. The number 7, you can be terrified of the number 7. You can have a phobia about a lot of things. But you cannot, a child never has a specific phobia about a parent, a mom phobia or a dad phobia. Why not? Because the attachment system of the brain, the neurologically based primary motivational system of the brain, is motivating the child's bonding to that parent. Any child throughout the history of evolution, millions of years of evolution, any child who developed a specific phobia about a parent and then sought to avoid that parent would not get resources, would not be fed, would die from exposure, would die, get eaten by predators. That child dies. Any specific phobia child dies over millions of years of evolution. All those genes for specific phobias for parents are removed from the gene pool. The attachment system does not allow a specific phobia towards a parent, towards a mother or a father. Doesn't happen. Never happens. And yet, that's exactly what we're looking at. A specific phobia, parent type, or mother type, or father type. How do we explain that? It's not real. That's not an authentic phobic response, because that's not authentic to the child's brain, because the brain doesn't work that way. So how does a child acquire anxiety symptoms of such extremity, of such extreme? I want to direct you to an article by Maneke, Maneke. It's on my reference list. So it has to do with the creation of, in rhesus monkeys, creation of fear of snakes in juveniles. So the little baby monkeys, how do they acquire a fear of snakes? Maneke article. And the question that Maneke and the others were looking at is, a baby monkey cannot acquire its fear of snakes from the snake itself, from being bitten by a snake, because if the child is bitten by a snake, the child is going to be dead. And so the living monkeys who are afraid of snakes did not acquire their fear of snakes from being bitten. They didn't acquire it from experience. So the question Maneke and the rest were wondering about is, how does a baby monkey acquire its fear of snakes? So what they did was they put a little baby monkey in a cage with a snake. And the baby monkey showed no fear of the snake. He was fine. He just wandered all over the cage, and no fear, no problem. And the snake's just sitting there, no big deal. Then they put the baby monkey and the mother monkey. They put baby monkey and mother monkey both in the cage with the snake. And now the mother monkey, she was terrified of the snake. She crawled inside of the cage, made distress calls. She showed a lot of fear of the snake. From that moment on, the baby monkey showed the same fear of the snake. The baby monkey acquired the fear of the snake through what's called the emotional signaling of the mother monkey regarding the snake's threat potential. And you can see how that would be so useful in terms of evolution. Instead of the child just going around and having to experience dangers and learn on their own, the mother signals the monkey and about what's dangerous in the world, and the mother and the baby monkey acquires those fears that are being signaled by the mother. That thing is a dangerous thing. Oh, that thing's a dangerous. That thing's a dangerous thing. So now, if we take that, by the way, we happen to be primates. If we take that and apply it over to us, the emotional signaling of a parent, the question too is, how does the child acquire this specific phobia, this intense anxiety about a parent, from the emotional signaling of the other parent? That's the answer. The other parent, the allied parent, in that cross-generational coalition, bring back the family system stuff, that cross-generational coalition where that parent is influencing the child, that parent is the one that has the anxiety symptoms. They're excessively afraid of the other parent's parenting. It is the spouse, the other spouse parent, who is afraid of being separated from the child, who's afraid of that child's being with the other parent, and makes this parent incredibly anxious. And so when this parent then influences the child, the fingerprints of the parental attitudes are then acquired by the child. So it's not the child who's afraid, it's the parent who's afraid. It's not the child who's narcissistic, it's the parent who's narcissistic. So on both of those symptom lines, I am getting the psychological control, psychological influence of the child by an allied parent. And I can tell what the allied parent's attitudes are based on what the child's symptom display is. The allied parent hyper anxious and over concerned and has an elevated risk perception? Does the allied parent have these narcissistic personality traits, the haughty and arrogant attitude, absence of empathy towards the other spouse? And those are being acquired by the child and expressed by the child. So now we've unpacked the oppositional angry symptoms. We've unpacked the anxious symptoms. Put all that back up, start again. 3 categories of symptoms. We got basically an attachment-related pathology, family systems overtones, and we have 3 symptom categories displayed by the child: oppositional aggression, conflict, attachment symptoms, anxiety symptoms. We've looked at these 2. Let's look at the attachment symptoms now. So follow me over to the next video segment, and we will address the attachment systems.